know. Otherwise, there is no requirement. First is, this is experiment number 4 in your lab instruction sheet that you have got, page number 11, experiment number 4. My voice is not perfect today, so if you cannot hear me or cannot understand, then tell me, I shall repeat. So this is the experiment number 4, measurement of phase shift and observation of magnetizing current waveform and hysteresis loop by CRO. This is the experiment. I shall explain the experiment as best I can from the online platform, and from there I shall give you some instruction to write a report sheet as you write in your physical lab when you perform the physical laboratory. Then you send this one within 1 week to me. That means today is Tuesday. By next Tuesday, it should reach to me by the mail ID that I have given through which I have send you the link. And everyone should send the report from their personal mail ID, not from the common mail ID, right? And the subject should be the subject I have written in the when I have sent the link. I think I have written PS Lab EB3B1. I think that whatever I have written, the subject name that you write in the subject of the mail. If you cannot do, if you forget, if you think you will forget, you write it. I shall not give any separate instruction sheet. You are mature enough for this online submission of the assignments or all those. So you must rename the subject as I have named when I have sent you the link. Okay. And for the report, you write the PS Lab report _ your roll number as you have submitted the power supply system manuscript to me. You have submitted in your second semester class power supply system manuscript to me. So the way you have named the file in that case, in the same way you name. First you write PSE Lab, then _ your roll number, then _ your name. Okay, in that way you rename your PDF file and send it to me. Okay. And you must submit it by the next week. That means by the next Tuesday. Do not write unnecessarily thing. Only the thing I shall tell you to write. Only rewrite that much. Okay. Unnecessary theory is not required for the lab classes. So here the experiment is measurement of phase shift, observation of magnetizing current waveform and hysteresis loop by CRO. CRO means cathode ray oscilloscope. So actually here we shall observe a magnetizing current waveform, obviously of a magnetic circuit for a varying excitation voltage, and then we shall measure the phase shift between two alternating voltage or current, actually two signals, and then we trace the hysteresis loop of a magnetic material using CRO. You know hysteresis loop formed when AC current passes through AC current. AC is the excitation current in a magnetic circuit. So this thing, what is the title? That is the objective is written in 3 parts. So first objective is to observe the waveform of magnetizing current of a single phase transformer and dependent energizing voltage. Because the core of the single phase transformer is a magnetic circuit. Actually in transformer, power is transferred through the magnetization. So we can use that magnetic circuit for our experiment. Second is to measure the phase shift between two sinusoidal voltage from oscilloscopic observation. That means from oscilloscopic observation, we shall learn to measure the phase shift between two sinusoidal voltages. Next is to observe the hysteresis loop of the core material of the single phase transformer, because core material is a magnetic circuit and it is energized by AC, so we can easily trace the hysteresis loop. Circuit I shall discuss later. So procedure. So what is the object? Whatever be the objective, that will be the procedure. So for first objective is to observe the waveform of the magnetizing current of a single phase transformer. And what will be the procedure? We should apply different energizing voltage and we shall observe the magnetizing current. So in that way, this is the thing. In that way, we shall apply different energizing voltage and we shall observe the magnetizing current. The procedure, the description, what is the terminal 1 and 2, when I shall discuss the lab, then I shall discuss. Second is to measure the phase difference between two sinusoidal voltages from oscilloscopic observation. So actually two sinusoidal voltage we shall pick out from the circuit, say VGX and VGY, and then we adjust the system in such a way that we can get 0 degree, 45 degree, 90 degree phase shift as per our assumption. And then we check it from oscilloscope whether we are getting that or not. Third is to observe the hysteresis loop of the core material of a single phase transformer. Then obviously we shall apply different energizing voltage like 70 volt and 110 volt in primary, and then observe the hysteresis loop of the core material of the transformer. How we shall observe, why this is 90 degree, all these things are written, that I shall discuss after this. Have you understood this much? What is the objective and what should be the procedure? If anybody do not understand, then interrupt me and ask, because I shall not give any recording or any PPT for this, because this instruction manual is with you. And who has joined later, then you should write your name in the chat box, okay? So let us start our virtual lab presentation, okay? Can you see this PPT?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So these are the objective what I have told you, that I have copied here, because previous year there was no objective in that way, instruction sheet was not available. Anyway, so these are the three objectives. So we shall go one by one. At first, the objective is to observe the waveform of magnetizing current of a single phase transformer at different energizing voltage. Now you know, when we give a voltage, energizing voltage to any magnetic circuit, in this case it is a single phase transformer, or for any magnetic circuit, then the flux wave will again be sinusoidal, right? And you know, the magnetization curve is has a saturation, okay, because core material of a transformer is ferromagnetic material, so it will have a saturation, and it is high mu r, so the slope is very high. So what will happen during linear zone? When we are in linear zone, then for a particular change in voltage, voltage or current, there will be a particular change in voltage. So this B versus H curve, we can write this one as I versus phi curve. I hope you know. So this is actually phi. So for a particular value of phi, this point we can obtain, then this will be the particular value of current. So in that way, this current will be we can obtain here if we do it manually. But if we go near saturation point, say near saturation point, near the peak of the flux, then what will happen? For a change in flux, there will be a small change in flux, there will be a huge change in current, because you see here current change is very, very high as compared to change in flux in vertical axis. So in that way, current will be peaky in nature. I think we have learned this one when we have learned transformer in your theory classes. Anyway, so we can pretend that when we apply a sinusoidal energizing voltage, then that will create a sinusoidal energizing flux, and for that reason, the current induced will be, or exciting current will be, peaky in nature if we use a current to energize the circuit near to its maximum B, because always we try to make a magnetic circuit in such a way, energize magnetic circuit in such a way that we can get maximum B, because maximum B means we can convert maximum energy to the magnetic energy. But if we use a smaller region, I think in the next slide it may be there. Okay. But if we use a smaller current, then flux, smaller excitation voltage, then flux will be lesser. Then the peak value of flux will again be in the linear region of the magnetic circuit. So in that case, the current will not be deformed. It will be purely sinusoidal as the flux. So what will be the nature of current? That will be depend how much voltage you are giving as an excitation voltage. So if the voltage is near to the rated one, then current will be the peak in nature. Because rated voltage of transformer means it will create a B near to the knee point of the magnetic circuit. So in that case, when flux will reach the maximum value, then current will be in the saturation zone. So that's why current will be peaky in nature, or there will be deformation in the current waveform. But if we use lower energizing voltage, in that case the magnetic circuit will be in the linear zone. So current induced will be proportional to the voltage given. So in that case, current will remain sinusoidal. If you do not have understood, then you can ask me. Now, in case of transformer, the BH characteristics is not like this, but it is a hysteresis loop. When we apply AC, we know this one. So when we apply AC, you know, always it starts from 0 at start, then it traces as it moves along the hysteresis slope as shown by the arrow. So in that case, if we apply this magnetic flux and if we trace the current, say in this way, then we shall get this magnetizing current waveform, right? So in that way, I have drawn it for one cycle. One cycle, it will start from 0 to G, then D, then J, then H, then again A. And if the core material is totally energized, then you will start from 0. If it is energized previously, then there will be some residual magnetism. Then it will start from actually A instead of 0. You know this one. So in that way, if it is from totally demagnetized, then it will start from 0. Otherwise, it will start from A. Now this is for one cycle. So when we learn observe it in oscilloscope, then that will not be for one cycle. It will be continuous. So in that case, we shall get this continuous waveform. Which waveform we shall get? The current waveform. So this one we shall get in the oscilloscope. So actually, this will be the waveform we shall expect. When the flux is maximum flux is near to the knee point of the magnetic BH characteristics. But if this maximum flux is low, then this current will be purely sinusoidal, as I have explained to you before, right? So that we can expect. Now, how we can make the circuit? We want to find out magnetizing current waveform of a transformer. Then obviously, say this is the transformer. Then this transformer is called test transformer. Then, if we want to measure the current, then what we should do? We should connect an ammeter here. Then this ammeter reading will be the magnetizing current of the supply to the test transformer. But here, actually, we are not measuring the current, but we shall observe it in the oscilloscope. So instead of ammeter, we shall connect a resistor, and voltage drop across it we shall give to the vertical input to the CRO. Why resistor? Because CRO cannot sense any current. It can sense only voltage. It can give a plot voltage versus time or voltage versus voltage. So we have to convert that current to a voltage. That's why this we need a pure resistor connected, and we have to take a voltage drop across it to connect it to the CRO. Have you understood this?
Yes, ma'am.
No, this is the circuit. This is our purpose, but the circuit is like this. So this is the actual circuit. This much. Transformer has a secondary. If you see the instruction manual, then this is the total circuit. Transformer has a secondary. Now secondary is now open because we have no need to bother about secondary now, because excitation current means secondary will be open. So what is the additional thing? Instead of connecting the input directly to the transformer, there is a isolating transformer through which the input is given, and the input is variable because we have to plot the magnetizing current for different voltages. So we have to vary the input voltage, so we must apply it through a barrier. That's why a barrier. And there is a isolation transformer. Why isolation transformer? So that if there be any discrepancy, if there be any deformity in the input side, that should not be transferred as the input in the test transformer, because here supply is given through an isolating transformer, and in isolating transformer from primary to secondary, the power is transformed through the magnetic circuit only. So any electrical deformation cannot be transferred through a magnetic circuit. So only energy will be transferred. That's why there is an isolating transformer at the primary of the test transformer. Isolating transformer should not change anything. Only it make an electrical isolation between primary and secondary. That's why the trans ratio of the isolating transformer will be 1:1. And ideally, its magnetic circuit should operate at the linear zone. So the same thing, if we see in the laboratory, then this is like this. So the thing you see, the circuit, whatever is here, that is drawn here. We have to make only the circuit. What is written? Connect as in figure, keeping the transformer secondary open. I have copied this procedure from the instruction manual. Observe the waveform of the magnetizing current on the oscilloscope. Terminal 1, 2 connected to the vertical input of the oscilloscope. Say here it is given to the vertical input of the oscilloscope. Why? Because if you give oscilloscope, if you can remember, if you do not give anything in x-axis, then it will be time. Then whatever give you in y-axis, that will be plotted. So obviously V12 should be given at the vertical input of the oscilloscope. Actually, why vertical input is written? Because it is a dual trace oscilloscope. We can give supply to the vertical input, as well as instead of T, we can give input to the horizontal axis also. For that reason, it is written vertical input. So this is the instruction. This is the actually our setup in the laboratory. So this is the isolating transformer. This is the variac. This is the resistor is needed for controlling purpose. Something I shall discuss later. And this is the R12 of the, and this is some other resistance will be required for other run. This is the test transformer. This is oscilloscope. Everything is drawn in the panel board. This is variac. This is isolating transformer. This 1-2 voltage voltmeter test transformer. Then secondary circuit, some capacitor, resistor. It is not required right now. So this is the circuit. Then this was the circuit, is not it? So from the variac, so this is the variac. So from variac, it should go to the isolating transformer. So we shall connect variac terminal to the isolating transformer terminal. Then from isolating transformer, it will go to isolating transformer. Then it will come out from the secondary of isolating transformer. So from here, here it will be connected to the R12. So here, right, R12. Then from R12, it will go to the test transformer. So it is test transformer, so it will be connected there. There will be no connection in secondary, so it will be left open. So we have connected only this path. So you have to connect this dotted path also. So for dotted path, From transformer secondary, it will be just directly returned back to the isolating transformer. So it is done. From isolating transformer, it will be directly back to the barrier. So in that way, we can draw the circuit in lab. Here I am showing it by line. In the lab, it will be through the wire. And second, we have no need to bother about the secondary circuit because secondary is open now. And we need a voltmeter to measure the voltage. So at the transformer primary, there should be a voltmeter. So I have shown by a green color. Always we connect voltmeter as last because voltmeter is a parallel circuit. Same voltmeter we can use everywhere to measure the voltage. Right. So this is the circuit. Now you see. One minute. This is the circuit for run 1 that we have drawn here. Now when we apply 11 volt voltage, you know for 11 volt voltage it is very low as compared to the rated voltage. So the waveform should be sinusoidal. Now you see we got this waveform, right? Next, if we have increased the voltage to 75 volts, 75 volt means it is near to the saturation zone. So we shall get some deformation. So for 75 volt, we are getting deformation. You see near to this. So how much deformation will be formed? That will be depend on nature of this BH characteristics of the magnetic material. Next is if we apply that rating of this transformer is near to is 110 volt. So when we are applying 110 volt, then obviously it is operating near the saturation zone. So for that reason, there is more non-linearity has come because it is operating near to this, right? So this peakiness will be more with increase in the supply voltage. So and excitation voltage. So here this peak may be observed as lower, but here scale is higher. That for that reason, you see here non-linearity is lesser. Understood? So if this experiment be done in the laboratory, then what you would do? You would connect this connection in lab and adjust the voltage. Then you observe the oscilloscope, and you have to trace this oscilloscopic observation from this oscilloscope. So what you do actually in lab, you put a tracing paper on it, just 1:1 here. A tracing paper you put here, then mark any zero crossing here. Then you mark some dot from here. Then by tracing it, you trace it in this way in the tracing paper. Right? So the same thing you will do here. I shall send you this oscilloscopic observation, only the oscilloscope part. You trace it in tracing paper or in ordinary A4 paper, whatever is possible, and you paste it in your report and send me as I shall instruct. For this run, you will trace in this way. So as some student has done in this way. So I shall give you this type of figure. From there you will trace in this way. So what will be in x-axis? V12. What will be in y-axis? T. You must mark the x-axis and y-axis. This division you cannot mark because that is not available. But what is the supply voltage you can mark, because I shall give you the data that for which supply voltage we have taken the reading. So you can write this one. So what will you write for run 1? Mark the axis and write the voltage applied. Okay, because without voltage applied it is meaningless. Have you understood what is you have to write in the report for the run 1? Report is compulsory for all, and there will be marks entirely maybe on report and on the attendance. Then next is, so this is for run 1. Then next is to observe the phase difference between two sinusoidal voltages from oscilloscopic observation. Then what is the theory? So if there are two voltages here, obviously you know V1 is leading from V2. So if we put V1 on the x-axis, V2 on the y-axis, then this type of pattern will be formed in the oscilloscope. This pattern is called Lissajous pattern, and from there we can find out what is the phase difference between these two. So phase difference will be sine inverse y by y max. Y is the intercept of the pattern with y-axis. Y max is the maximum intercept of the pattern with the y-axis. Similarly, it will be equal to x by x max. Now, if the angle is more than 90 degree or it is lagging, then it will be 180 minus sine inverse y by y max. In that way, we can find out phase difference between two sinusoidal voltages. So obviously, for 0 degree, there will be no y or y max, or it will be in 0. So the Lissajous pattern will be like this. For 45 degree, it will be like this. The value will be 1 by root 2. For 180 degree, the intercept will be just negative in second and fourth quadrant. So this will be this. And for 90 degree, obviously, y max and y will be same. Then sine inverse 1 minute. Tell me.
It will be a circle.
It's not necessarily be, because
if x equal to x max same.
It will be circle when y max and x max are equal. If y max and x max are not equal, that may be an ellipse also, where it will be its major axis and minor axis will be coincide with x and y axis. Understood? So it will be circle only when y max and x max are equal, otherwise not. Is not it? So it may be an ellipse also. If the magnitude of two sinusoidal voltages are not same, but they are at 90 degree out of phase, then this ellipse will be formed, not circle. So what we shall do for this run 2? For run 2, actually, we make some secondary circuit. In secondary, we make an RC circuit, right? Actually, this is R, this is C, and R has two parts. One is variable, one is decayed resistance, means this resistance may be changed as in step. So actually, in short, it is a variable resistance, nothing more than that. But in case of lab, it has done in two parts because due to the availability of the resistors. So for some resistance is changed in steps, say 50 ohm, 20 ohm, 60 ohm, in that way, and some are smooth variation using the rheostat. Anyway, there is a 50% tapping on the transformer secondary. The one terminal is taken out from the 50% tapping, that is called G, and the C capacitor terminal is called X, and the terminal between C and R is marked as Y. Then X will be given to the horizontal input of the CRO, and Y will be given to the vertical input of the CRO. So actually the thing is, this is VGX in x-axis, and y-axis will be VGY. Right? That thing is written in your instruction manual. If you now see, just connect this VGY to the vertical input and connect this VGX to the horizontal input. So that is the thing. So actually this is the test transformer secondary circuit. So you know, this is a test transformer secondary circuit because resistance is variable and there is a capacitor. Now you see the common point between resistance and capacitor is Y. So this point is Y, this point is X, and this midpoint is G, right? Now if we draw the phasor diagram, then obviously this is nothing but a RC circuit. If you see from the circuit point of view, just forget about the transformer secondary, transformer part. If you see the only secondary circuit, then it is a RC circuit energized by a AC voltage. Then obviously current should be leading to some extent. depending on the power factor of the circuit, and voltage of the circuit will be in phase with the current, and voltage in the resistor will be in phase with the current, and voltage in the capacitor will be 90 degree lagging from the current, because in capacitor voltage lags behind current. So this angle is always 90 degree. Then Y point will always lie on the semicircle, maybe here, maybe here. Why it will change? If the resistance is changed. If resistance is changed, then this VR will be changed. So this may be one condition. This may be one condition. Have you understood?
Yes, ma'am.
So this is the phase of I or phase of VR. So VC is 90 degree out of phase. Now if we want to identify this Y point, so Y will be in between VR and VC. So this point will be Y, so we can mark it here. And X point is at the end point of the VGX. Okay, so VGX is this one. So this one is the VGX, this is G. So this is the X. So this is the VGX, or X is the tip of VC. So that's why it is X, right? Now what we are giving to the oscilloscope? Oscilloscope we are giving VGX and VGY. So VGX is this one, VGY is this one. So now you see, if we change the R, say if we change the R, then VR will be changed. Say VR is this much. Then Y will be shifted here. Then VGY will be here, right? So by changing R, actually we are changing this theta. Have you understood?
Yes, ma'am.
So
Yes,
actually by changing R, we can change phase difference between VGX and VGY, and we can reach 0 degree, 180 degree, 30 degree, whatever required. Okay. So for this reason, so whatever the procedure I have written, copied from your instruction, adjust input voltage suitable to 10 volt or 25 volt, because here we are measuring the phase difference between VGX and VGI. You have nothing to do with excitation current, all those. So we are not exciting the voltage, we are not getting higher voltage, because if you take the higher voltage, then scale will be higher in case of oscilloscope. So we are doing the experiment in the lower voltage range. Then apply it to vertical and horizontal belt respectively. Adjust R and C so that we can get 0, 45 and 90. In our experiment, there is no scope to adjust C. We are adjusting only the C. Note down the intercept and maximum value of y-axis, sketch oscilloscope records, and note the value of R and C. Now, value of R and C we cannot note because that record is not with us. But we can, if I give you the oscilloscope trace, I hope you can find out the phase difference. So in report for this run 2, I shall give you some oscilloscope trace. From there, you have to find out the theta. Only put the formula, find out the theta. So if we make the circuit, so this is the isolating transformer, R12 test transformer. This much we have done in our run 1. Second is RC circuit. This is the C, this is the R. Okay. So, and this is the CRO. So what was our circuit? Our circuit is, we have to make this secondary circuit along with the primary one. So at first, let us make the primary circuit. Then start by variac to isolating transformer primary. Then isolating transformer to R12, then R12 to test transformer, right? Primary first circuit is, this forward path is completed for the first primary circuit. Then for return path, this isolating transformer will be directly connected to the variac. The test transformer will be directly connected to isolating transformer, and then it will be returned to the variac. Then we have to connect the voltage source, voltmeter also. That we have done in our run 1. Now you have to make the secondary circuit. In secondary, you see from the top there is a capacitor we have to connect. Just from top, we connect the capacitor. Then from capacitor to the resistor. Then from capacitor to resistor, right? Then from resistor, actually in the circuit, there are two resistors. So this is one resistor, then we have to take this decade resistor in series, say RTH plus RD. So this is the RTH. So this RD we have to take in series. Actually, this is the RD, right? So this RTH we have to connect with the RD, right? So it is not possible to show here. So this RD I have shown in this panel in the next diagram. Right? So RD. So from RD it will be returned to the transformer secondary. So it will be returned to here. So in this way, right? Now we have to connect the oscilloscope. Oscilloscope GY will be connected to vertical input, GX will be connected to horizontal input. So this terminal is X, so it will be connected to here directly. Why it is X? Because you see it is connected to capacitor, so this point is X. Then Y is connected to Y and G is connected to G. So automatically VGX and VGY will be connected. Now, if we perform this experiment, then we shall get this one. Okay, I have forgot to show you this video here. 1 minute. So the way I have done in for run 1, so this, if we do this one in laboratory, I have short video of that. You see here, actually adjusted, the voltage is adjusted to 25 volt, and in that way the oscilloscope reading is taken. We have taken the reading from there. The videos are very short. Similarly for 75 volt. So this SAR is adjusting the scale to make the waveform within the oscilloscope screen. Otherwise, it will be out of screen. We cannot trace. Similarly, here in lab, it was done in 135 volt, more than the inside saturation voltage. The saturation voltage was 110 volt. So now this scale is adjusted to make accommodate the waveform within the oscilloscope screen. Similarly, for the phase shift, these are some experimental observation. I shall give you the this observation, the screen, the photo of that oscilloscope screen. From there, you have to trace this type of Lissajous pattern, and you have to calculate the angle, right? So you have to mark the axis VGX and VGY and calculate the theta. So for run 1, you mark the axis, write the applied voltage, and you write somewhere in report for run 1. Are you writing? For report run 1, you have to trace the current wave from the given data. Trace the current waveform from the given data. Mark axis and write applied voltage in each case. Number 3, justify or explain your observation, right? Justify or explain your observation. So 3 points. Then for run 2, trace the Lissajous pattern from the data given. Number 2, identify the axis. Number 3, calculate theta. So you will obviously get this type of observation. And for run 1, there was some explanation. For run 2, there is no explanation, only calculation and tracing of the pattern in report. So if we do in laboratory, so in this way, by varying resistance, we can find that one, the angles. Now you see, when his sir is opening the resistance, we are getting the zero angle. Whenever he is opening, we just check it. Why? You just check it. Whenever he is opening this one, opening means resistance is infinity. Resistance is infinity means VR is approximately equal to V supply. So this Y point will be superimposed with the X. So in that case, we shall get the angle, this theta, as 0 degree. Similarly, if we want to make theta 180 degree, then we have to shift Y in this direction. How we can shift Y in this direction? Only by making VR 0. That means if I withdraw the resistance and make the path short, then only we can get the 180 degree connection, phase difference. Understood?
Ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am, can you repeat the last part?
This one.
Yes, ma'am.
If we want to get 0 degree, then 0 means this Y, this angle theta should tends to 0. 0 means this GY should superimpose with GX. Then how it is possible? Then this voltage VR should be equal to the supply voltage. To make voltage VR equal to supply voltage, this VR should be infinity. There should not be any voltage across C. So if we make VR open, then VR will be infinity. So we can get 0 degree angle. Similarly, if we want to make this one 180 degree, this which I want 180 degree, then we have to shift in opposite direction. So if we want to shift opposite direction, then Y point should shift here. Then what will be the value of VR? This VR will be a point, that means 0. So that means this R should be short circuited. So
Okay.
you can short circuit it because the voltage is very low. Otherwise, you have to bypass the resistance and short it, right? If you apply the higher voltage. That's why we make the supply voltage low here. Now you see here, everything is given. It says 0 degree, 180 degree, 45 degree, 90 degree. And here or total, both the voltages are taken same. That's why we shall get circle. But it is not necessarily we shall get circle in every case. If the two voltage waveform, this is for 45 degree. By adjusting resistance to any value, we can get the 45 degree angle. So 45 degree will be an trial and error because 45 degree means 1 by root 2. So we have to see whether the intercept is 0.707 or not, that ratio is 0.707 or not. From there we have to calculate. So generally exact 45 degree does not come, it comes near to 45 degree. And it is 90 degree. So this type of circuit we will get. 90 degree you can also see it is not a pure circle because it has been traced from oscilloscope. When you will trace from your mobile screen or for computer screen, you will see it how the tracing is. So in that way, it will not be pure circle because you are not using the compass. Okay. But this resistance you cannot write. For R equal theta equal to 0 you can write, but resistance we cannot write in this way because the data is not available with us. This C is 2 microfarad fixed. Now next is the last one is we have to observe hysteresis loop of the core material of the single phase transformer. So this is the hysteresis loop actually. So Y axis is B, X axis is H. So this is the hysteresis loop. Now we are tracing only. We are not measuring. We are not measuring hysteresis loss, all that. So if we want to trace, we can use any proportional voltage or current. Now you know magnetizing current is proportional to magnetizing field is proportional to magnetizing current. So in x-axis we can put magnetizing current. In y-axis we can provide field. Now you know this magnetizing current is already available to us because magnetizing current we have already plotted. That is the voltage drop across resistance R12 that we have done in our first run. This one is not it. This one is the magnetizing current, proportional to magnetizing current. So in this way, that is available to us, right? And one thing we have to remember, when we are observing in oscilloscope, then actually no current or flux we can give in oscilloscope plate. We can give any voltage only. So we have to change the, get some proportional voltage. As for magnetizing current, we have taken a voltage which is more or less proportional to the current. Now, if the resistance has any nonlinearity, then that will be not directly proportional to current. There will be some phase shift. Because when we are observing a signal, then we should not change the nature of the signal. Its phase, its magnitude may be in a scale. Because when you are using a resistance voltage instead of current, say current is 10 ampere, you are using a 0.1 ohm resistance, making the voltage 1 volt. So if 0.1 ohm resistance is pure linear one, then 1 volt is proportional to 1 ampere, is not it? So in that case, measurement will be correct. But if the 0.1 ohm resistance is varying with heat, or it is non-linear, it is changing with current, then for 20 ampere current, it will not give 0.2 volt, it will give something else. So in that case, the observation will not be correct. So in that way, we have to ensure there should not be any phase change or nature change in the waveform. The scale may be changed, magnitude may be changed, because magnitude depends on scale. Now you know, so here we can, instead of B and H, we may give phi and I. But in oscilloscope, we cannot give neither B and H or nor phi and I. So we can give only V and V. So we have to provide a voltage proportional to phi on y-axis, one voltage proportional to I in x-axis, right? So for that reason, let us see how, so this VI we can get from V12. And how we can get this V phi? So what will be the condition of to get proper V phi? V phi will be a voltage which will be proportional to flux applied and which will be in phase with the flux applied. If it is 90 degree out of phase or 90 degree leading or lagging from the phase phi, then it is meaningless. Then it will not give the proper plot. Now, if you see the transformer phasor diagram for a leading load at secondary, anyway, then phi, then you know both volt induced EMFs are 90 degree lagging from the phi. So any voltage, any proportional to E, if we take any value of E less than this or higher than this, it will be 90 degree lagging from it. But we need a part of E which will be in proportional to E. We need a V phi which will be proportional to phi and phase with phi. So we need a 90 degree phase shift plus 90 degree phase shift, 90 degree leading voltage from E1 or E2. So we need V phi, such a voltage which will be 90 degree leading from this E. Now obviously by making some adjustment of R, we can shift this Y to such a position, then theta is 90 degree. When this theta is 90 degree, then VGX, every voltage on this phasor diagram is proportional to phi because induced voltage is 4.445 FN, but the angle was 90 degree lagging from phi. So if we make that angle 90 degree leading from E, then that will be in phase with phi. So if we can pick out a voltage which is 90 degree leading from E2, then that will be V phi. That may serve our purpose. So in x-axis we can give the voltage V12 that we have given in our run 1. But in case of y-axis, we have to give VGY at a special condition only when theta equal to 90 degree. If we give for theta equal to 0 degree, then it will not give the hysteresis loop because we have not plotted phi versus I, we have plotted something else. So here, if we want to get hysteresis loop, we have to give the y phi at y-axis. So some VGY which is at theta angle leading from E. And here, if we plot this one, we shall not get this part. This part we shall not get. Why? Because this transformer is initially energized. It has been used previously. So we shall get only the other loop, other part. Then obviously now we shall give you if you can remember or you see the instruction sheet, when we have run it for run this circuit, same circuit, we have run it for circuit run 2, that is we have to find out the phase difference between two current, two waveform, two voltage, sorry. Then we have given VGX to the x-axis and VGY to the y-axis. Now we want to plot hysteresis loop. So we shall give VGY to the y-axis with the condition VGY should lead VGX by 90 degree. And we shall give V12 to the x-axis. That means it will be it will be actually proportional to I, or magnetizing current I phi you may say, and it will be proportional to phi. Just if you see the run 2 right now, run 2 actually intermediate thing in this experiment. Run 2 is the main purpose of this experiment. Main purpose is to plot this hysteresis loop. Now to plot this hysteresis loop, we need to achieve this condition. Now the theta equal to 90 degree, a voltage phasor 90 degree leading from the induced EMF phasor, we cannot readily get. We have to adjust that one. We have to adjust the R. So corresponding R will be this one. Corresponding VR will be this one, right? This one will be the corresponding VR. So we have to adjust those registers for that. So before that, we have measured for some other angle, theta equal to 0 degree, theta equal to 90 degree, 45 degree, all those. So in the circuit, everything is same. For this circuit, you see, adjust VGY to have 90 degree phase shift from VGX, whatever I have explained. Why I have explained. Current terminal 1, 2 of horizontal planes and GY to the vertical plates. Adjust horizontal and vertical gain to obtain hysteresis slope covering the full screen. That is scale adjustment. Trace the loops. Now you see the circuit. For the circuit, it was the circuit. Everything is same with the run 1. Only the input to the oscilloscope will be changed. So the circuit I have explained. So primary circuit is drawn. Secondary circuit is same. But now the input to VGX is R12 and VG, this R12, now G's are different because this ground and this ground is not same. So these two are given to GX and these two are given to GY. But for run 2, 1 G was sufficient because they have the common G. But in the case of run 3, these two are totally different voltages. One is from primary side, another is from secondary side. So in that case, we shall give two isolated signal. So in run 1, run 2, actually these two G will be shorted. But in run 3, these two should not be shorted. These two are disconnected. These two G are separate. Now if we give the oscilloscope in dual mode, then we can get the value in this way. If you see for 70 volt, now you see, if you can see here, I am just pausing it. You see here, we are getting hysteresis loop in opposite direction. Why? Because in that case, when we have connected that V12, it has been changed. Now you see he is changing the terminal so that we can get the proper direction. Right? Only the polarity is changed. Similarly for 110 volt. 110 volt polarity changing is not required because we have adjusted it once from 70 to 70 volt. Then we have already got it. Now you see some overlapping is coming. Okay. It should not be, because in theory you should not get any, you do not get any overlapping. Why? Because here we have considered that R12 is purely linear and there is no inductance, it is a pure resistance. But no rheostat is a pure resistance. There is a winding, a coil, so there must be a minimum inductance within that. So resistance is not linear. At the same time, by adjusting the resistance, we have got the 90 degree, and we cannot achieve a pure 90 degree, exactly 90 degree, because there is no smooth control of resistance. So for that, these two limitation of this laboratory setup, we are getting some overlap at the saturation zone when we are pressing it for the rated voltage. So what will you do for report in for run 2, run 3, right? Trace the hysteresis loops from the data given. Number 1, trace the hysteresis loop from the data given. Number 2, mark the axis. Mention the voltage applied, because if you do not mention the 75 volt or 110 volt, then it is meaningless, right? And here you see, this seems that for 100 volt, the area of the loop is lesser, but that is not the case. It is the area of the loop is higher. If you see the scale, here the scale is in channel 1 10 volt, 10 millivolt, here it is 50 millivolt. Here channel 2 1 volt, here it is 2 volt. So actually it is larger, but to accommodate it within the screen, it has made the scale has made higher, so that we can make the hysteresis loop smaller and accommodate it within the oscilloscope screen. In your data, this scale is not available, but you can explain why for 100 volt you are getting thinner hysteresis loop you have traced, but what is the actual case? You must explain that one. So in run 3, trace the hysteresis loop from the given data. Step 1. Step 2 is mark the axis and mention the voltage applied. Part 3, explain your observation. All of you have understood what to do, what to write in report? If anybody has doubt, then tell me right now. Do not tell me after the class, and do not call me over that. Now I am giving you, let me give you the what data I shall give you. Let me show you that one. I shall send you to your mail, common email. Only this data we shall give you. You see, I do not know why run 2 has come at first. You see, for run 1, there are 3 observations. I have given the file name in that way, run 1 IM for 11 volt. So 11 volt is the applied voltage scale. You cannot say from here. You just trace it from here as you can. You trace it this from here. So how will you trace? You first mark the axis. Cannot see it from here right now. Anyway, mark the axis here. Let me open it in Paint. So how will you trace? You just mark the axis. You know there will be, it has 2 axis symmetry. So you mark the axis in this way. You mark here. Then you make the axis here. Then you make the point here. And then in that way you trace using tracing paper or whatever. And then you mark this axis and write the voltage applied. Can you follow me?
Yes, ma'am.
So in this way you have to done, because here is nothing to do more than that. So I have drawn it for 11 volt.
আমাদের ম্যাম যে সার্কিট ডায়াগ্রাম কি আঁকতে হবে?
Circuit diagram আমি বলে দিচ্ছি পরে. So this is for the main report. So this is for run 1. So for run 1 there is three observation. This is for 75 volt. In file name I have written for 75 volt, so you will have no confusion. Then one is for 111 volt, right? So you have to trace. Then for run 2, this is obviously for 0 degree. Then this is for 180 degree. This is for 45 degrees. So you just trace it and make the calculate the angle. It will near to 45 degree, maybe 43 like that. And no, it will not be exact. It will not be exact actually. And for 4 you have to trace from here. From here. I have no more actually circuit with me. In this way you have to trace whatever you can, right? I think it is visible. You can do it in this way. So this is for I have not actually edited this one. I could edit this oscilloscope portion because in that case this picture will be hazy. So I forgot to take this one close-in photo, so you take it in this way. Then for run 3, this is for 70 volt. Then this is for 110 volt. You can see overlapping. Why overlapping? I have told you. So you write that one, right? I shall send this one. Now let me see what is written in report. What to write in report? Okay, report part is actually not given here. So only you have no need to draw that length the circuit. You may draw. Actually, it is meaningless. You will copy from here and only draw. You can draw. Actually, what you write in report part should be there. 1 minute. I am not getting right now report. Report part was there in physical manual, but it is not here. Just you do that this thing. Can you see this one? Whatever written in procedure, you follow that one. You do not write procedure. In report, you write that only report on this experiment number. Experiment number, your classes held. Okay, that you write is experiment number, title, and then only the what is that? Is observation, and the explanation. Okay, you write in procedure will not be there. Without circuit diagram, report may be incomplete. Okay, you write then in report. What you write in report? What you will write in run 1, run 2, run 3 already I have given you. You write what you will write in report. Number 1, experiment number. Number 2, title. Number 3, objective. You just copy from here. Number 4, circuit diagram you draw. Only this one, whatever given here. In circuit diagram here, I is small. You must write in capital. So 4 is the experiment number, title, objective, circuit diagram. Then you write experimental results. Here it will not result, experimental observation. Okay. Number 5 will be experimental observation and discussion. Because here there is no graph, you have to know to draw any graph, no calculation. So experimental observation and discussion you write in one heading. So under this, you write whatever I have instructed for run 1, run 2, run 3. So this is the main part of the report. Experimental observation and the discussion. So run 1, you write you copy those data, mark axis, then you explain what is your observation. You can justify that one. For run 2, only the calculation, trace the pattern, calculate it. Run 3, trace the pattern, mark the axis, and and explain your observation. Understood? So that's all for today for this lab. If you have any doubt, then tell me. No doubt for no one. Then I should expect the exact report what I am expecting, what I have told you to do, and submit it by the next Tuesday, right? Okay. Then that's all for today. I think our next class is in September or October. And for I think you have drawn the constant current source experiment in your second year class. So this year we shall do some simulation based laboratory for that by replacing that experiment, because that exact setup is not ready right now. Let me know one thing. Do all of you have any MATLAB MATLAB software with you? It is not mandatory for this class. I am only getting the information. By any means, do you have MATLAB software with you?
No, ma'am.
Huh?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Then I shall give you some simulating model. I shall give you the result as I am giving for this experiment. So from there, you write the report for the next year. That I shall prepare in that way, keeping in mind that you cannot run the model in your home. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Please leave the meeting.